What if the person holding the door for you was hiding a deadly secret? What if the smiling face across the street masked the darkest of desires? America's most infamous murderers weren't shadows in dark alleys. They were ordinary people living ordinary lives. That's the terrifying hook. Evil can wear the most normal face. Behind charm and kindness hid twisted urges that shook the nation. Why did they do it? What made them monsters? The truth is darker than the crimes themselves. Ted Bundy. Can you trust someone just because they seem perfect? Ted Bundy made people believe he was safe, handsome, educated, polite. But behind that charming mask lived one of the most terrifying killers in American history. Born in 1946, Bundy's life began with a lie. He grew up believing his mother was his sister. Could that family secret have been the first crack in his mind? As a boy, Bundy showed disturbing signs: hurting animals, scaring people for fun. Bundy confessed to 30 murders in the 1970s, but investigators believe the real number may have been over 100. His darkest secret? Necrophilia. Bundy returned to his victims' bodies, sometimes days later, applying makeup to corpses to keep them alive in his twisted fantasy. He lured women by pretending to be injured, wearing fake casts and asking for help, then attacked them with a crowbar. And Bundy wasn't just clever, he was cunning. He escaped custody twice, continuing his killing spree before being caught again. What if the smiling stranger who seems harmless is hiding a darkness you can't see? Bundy's legacy is a terrifying reminder that evil can wear the friendliest face. Jeffrey Dahmer. What happens when loneliness mutates into obsession, and obsession explodes into horror? Jeffrey Dahmer's story still chills America, not just for his crimes, but for how long he walked free. Born in 1960, Dahmer grew up quiet, isolated, and broken by his parents' bitter divorce. By his teens, he collected animal remains, dissecting them with eerie fascination. A red flag? Absolutely. But no one intervened. From 1978 to 1991, Dahmer murdered 17 young men, mostly gay and from minority backgrounds. Yet killing was only one layer of his darkness. He drilled holes in victims' skulls, injected acid to create living zombies, and even ate body parts, believing this would make his victims part of him forever. The most haunting twist? Dahmer could have been stopped. Neighbors complained about the stench. A 14-year-old escaped, but was returned to Dahmer by police. In 1991, his final victim escaped, ending the nightmare. Dahmer's tale asks, how many warnings must be ignored before evil finally breaks through? John Wayne Gacy. Would you ever think the clown at your child's birthday party was hiding bodies beneath his house? That's the horror of John Wayne Gacy. Born in 1942, Gacy grew up under the shadow of an abusive father who called him dumb and stupid. To the outside world, however, Gacy became a respected businessman and community volunteer. He even performed as Pogo the Clown at parties and charity events. Between 1972 and 1978, Gacy murdered 33 young men and boys. His darkest secret? Most of their bodies were hidden in the crawl space beneath his suburban Chicago home. Gacy used his clown act and offers of work to lure victims, handcuffing and strangling them before burying them under his floorboards. What if the person entertaining children was a predator in disguise? Convicted in 1980, he remained unrepentant, even painting clowns in prison. He was executed in 1994. Gacy's story is a chilling reminder that predators can be hiding in plain sight, behind costumes, jobs, and even smiles. Charles Manson. Can one man convince others to kill in his name? Charles Manson never personally murdered the victims of his most infamous crimes, but his influence made him one of the most feared figures in history. Born in 1934 to a troubled childhood, Manson grew up in institutions, prisons, and abuse. By the 1960s, he reinvented himself as a guru in California, gathering a group of disaffected young people who called themselves the Manson family. Manson convinced his followers that a race war, what he called helter-skelter, was coming. inspired by twisted interpretations of Beatles lyrics. He promised salvation, love, and community, but delivered terror and murder. In 1969, Manson ordered his followers to kill, leading to the brutal murders of 9 people, including actress Sharon Tate, who was 8 months pregnant. Manson's darkest secret wasn't in the killings themselves, but in the manipulation. He used drugs, isolation, and psychological control to bend others to his will. So here's the question: why did so many obey him? What makes a person give up their own will and commit atrocities for someone else's vision? Manson never escaped prison, dying in 2017, but his cult remains a warning of how dangerous blind devotion can be. H. Holmes. What if a hotel wasn't a place of comfort but a trap designed for death? That's the terrifying story of H. Holmes, often called America's first serial killer. Born Herman Mudgett in 1861, Holmes was a con man, fraudster, and murderer who saw opportunity in the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. He built what became known as the Murder Castle, a hotel designed not for guests, but for victims. The building had trapdoors, hidden hallways, secret chambers, gas lines, and chutes that led straight to the basement. Victims could be locked inside soundproof rooms, gassed, or dissected without anyone outside suspecting a thing. Holmes confessed to 27 murders, but many historians believe he may have killed as many as 200. His darkest secret? He sold skeletons of his victims to medical schools after dissolving their flesh in acid. Holmes wasn't just killing. He was profiting from death. How could something so horrifying exist in the middle of a busy city? Holmes's cunning lies and charm allowed him to hide his crimes until he was finally caught and executed in 1896. His castle reminds us of one terrifying hook. Sometimes buildings themselves can hold evil. In conclusion, what makes a killer? So what have we uncovered? Ted Bundy charmed his way into darkness. Jeffrey Dahmer tried to own people forever through cannibalism. John Wayne Gacy turned clown makeup into a mask for murder. Charles Manson used words, not weapons, to unleash terror. H. Holmes built a castle for killing. Their stories grip us because they reveal humanity's darkest corners: abuse, loneliness, control, greed, and trauma. These forces shape them, but they don't excuse them. Evil doesn't always look like a monster in the shadows. Sometimes it looks like a neighbor, a clown, a friend, or even someone asking for help. Enjoyed this video? Hit the bell icon for more exciting updates, share your thoughts in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching until the end.